Oh, yes, it's ladies' night. Oh, what a night. Oh, what a night. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your girl, Miss Sophia, the Diva, and I am here to bring you another fabulous review of Queen of the South. What are we talking about? We are talking about Queen of the South, Season 4, Episode 5, Noche de las Chicas, Ladies' Night. All right, and oh, what a night it was, honey, for Miss Teresa Mendoza, honey. Baby, I'm telling y'all, every time Teresa tries to just do her thing, they pull her into some drama. And thanks to Boaz and Javier, the drama is just beginning, honey. It's so bad. King George, like, I'm not built for this shit. I'm built for the sea. I gotta get the fuck out of here, okay? But before I get into how King George departs temporarily, I hope, I love Rhino Nan. He is such a sweetheart. I just love Queen of the South, period. But let's get into this episode. When we closed out last episode, Bobby dead to the pavement, honey. He just, cause him and King George got into a skirmish. Bobby got hold of his gun. The gun went off. Bobby got shot. But that's his fault. Why you try to run? Teresa doesn't just kill people, but you don't know that. You know why you don't know that? Because you let your dumbass friend Marcel Dumas get everybody in trouble. Now he out here trying to kill folk and do shit half-ass backwards because he the one who done fucked up. First of all, you don't know who Teresa is. I know. Just by your very nature, you are a thief. You like to take things that don't belong to you. But there are consequences that come with that, and that's what you get for fucking with the wrong people. But yeah, Marcel, you are the cause of why men in your organization are dying. You lost a man when you tried to rob Teresa the first time. Now you done tried to rob her a second time and you done lost another man and you upset because they couldn't find Bobby. So he brings in I guess Bobby's woman and her side piece, who also obviously runs with Dumas's gang, plays a little Russian roulette. Finally, they were like, that new chick's man came to look for her. They said, but he was going to play poker or something somewhere. Somebody said they had surveillance. They see King George. And they were like, hey, that's Teresa's man right there. But before her and her man are dismissed, Marcel plays a little Russian roulette with them and says, well, the gun ain't even loaded. He just keeps clicking like he just going to shoot them. And so finally on their way out, he says, I'm going to let y'all go. But he does catch a dude in the leg, though, on his way out. Just drama. I'm like, you have nobody to blame but yourself for this. When Javier and Boaz show back up, they were like, well, what were you doing? Tell me what happened. Javier tells a white lie. Javier tells Teresa that, remember that guy that was in the bar, Boaz got upset and killed him, so we were going to dispose of the body. He lost his cool, okay? We also learned that the Lincoln is, in fact, not Boaz's or Javier's ride. It was the liquor licenses dude ride, which dude is still in the trunk. I thought they had gone to retrieve the car before they got back. We learned that they didn't. Teresa tells him, you know what? You need to get Boaz back to Mexico, and if you can't be loyal, you need to get on a plane right with you. Boaz asked Javier, what did he tell Teresa? He was like, oh, I told her what she needed to hear. And I was like, what she didn't need to hear was a lie. You should have told her the truth of the matter is I got into an altercation with dude. I accidentally killed him because I lost my cool, which I can understand how anyone would feel about some racist constantly calling them out of their name and making fun of their language and their culture. And I mean, it's ridiculous, but I don't think you should kill somebody for that, but okay. Boaz, on the way to the airport or wherever he was taking him, because they didn't show him dropping him off at Louis Armstrong, so I don't know where he really went, but he was telling him, Seminola should have been ours, basically. So now you have the green-eyed monster is coming up. They don't want to really answer to Teresa, but I thought Javier was going to be more so loyal. And Boaz is really trying to coax him basically into turning on Teresa. And I was like, all right, Javier, don't let Boaz write a check your ass can't cash. This shit about to bounce into the swamps, okay? I'm just saying. Birdie, the bartender, the mixologist, her and George shared a tender moment at one point. And after all was said and done, they have a tender moment at the bar. And he tells her, that you saved me while I was drowning. Also, Birdie has a moment with Teresa, and she tells her, I'm going to stick around. I think she wanted to buy like her own place or whatever, and Teresa says, ultimately that can be arranged. Teresa takes care of her people. Like, if you want to work for a drug lord, you want to work for someone like Teresa. Fair. Hard, but fair. That's one thing I can say about her. Now, as long as you're not fucking up, you won't get fucked up. You fuck up, you might end up in the bayou. That's all I'm saying. So, poor Birdie. But we're going to talk about that, okay? Birdie had asked King George, because I couldn't ever, and I don't know how I could forget King George's best friend's name, Bilal. He misses Bilal. We miss Bilal, too, because you were most happiest when you were with Bilal, okay? Teresa has to go see Judge, because she realizes that they're going to have to go to war if he doesn't put Dumas in check, because ultimately Marcel Dumas does answer to the judge. Apparently the judge's reach is deep in New Orleans and possibly Louisiana. So she goes and tells him, he's like, now you got some nerve coming up in here into my office about this. That's going to cost you gas. She was like, but you're supposed to be my business partner. She was like, I need for you to take care of Dumas. And he was like, well, it's going to depend how much is it worth to you for me to stop this. She was like, because if you don't do something, it's going to be a war. And in war, nobody makes any money. And that's true. How are you going to make money? I mean, people's bodies are dropping, the feds are around in the law enforcement, local law enforcement's around, okay? The judge tells her it's going to cost you what's it worth to you. She said $10,000. He said, how about 10%? I was like, Teresa, at that price, I would choose war. Fuck him. Walk out the door. Later on, Dumas and the judge have a phone conversation. The judge said, I need for you to cut this shit out. And Dumas was like, well, she done killed Bobby and blah, blah, blah. He was like, I'm going to give you a one time and a one time only. You cut the shit out after that. You understand? So basically, an eye for an eye, so to speak, is what the judge says. And Dumas is going to take him up on that offer because he feels like it's only fair. My problem throughout this entire episode with Marcel Dumas is that none of this would be knocking on your front door if you had not tried to rob Teresa from the beginning. You met her and then you tried to rob her. You didn't realize that you were fucking with the Mexican drug cartel. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? And that's one of the problems that's wrong with a lot of this gang mentality, I've noticed. They don't want to take responsibility or face the consequences of what it comes with when you do wrong. Like, they want to intimidate people, for snitching or whatever. And then want to kill him. I'm like, I don't understand. Your brother done fucked up over here, so he got to go to jail. You got to do time. You out here committing crime, you got to do time. Okay? And, when he said one target, the whole time I was thinking maybe it'll be like, oh, God, please don't let me Pote, King George, or worse, Tony. Now, y'all can shoot Kellyanne. Honestly, that would kind of be cleaning up a mess from last season. But please don't kill any of the major characters. Okay? Now, turns out, and I was like, please don't tell me y'all filmed in Atlanta and y'all didn't invite me, Queen of the South. I could have just been hanging in the background. Y'all know I'm part of Queen Familia. I love this show. His name escapes me, but y'all know the nut job that was into cockfighting in the first episode that we met. He arranged a meeting for her with another distributor, someone else who can buy the product. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Give me just a sec. So the distributor that Nut Job sets up for her is based out of Atlanta. Hi, from Atlanta. So they're going to meet up in this club. But meanwhile, in the background, while all of this is going on, Tony and Kellyanne both are still on edge from that horrible incident where the two hitmen came looking for Tony, but Kellyanne also got involved and they're at the house bonding. But Tony is slick with it. He's like, well, I want to play cards with you. Let's play hearts. And he goes to Kellyanne's room, gets the cards, but also knows that Kellyanne has a sidearm. And goes to her drawer and takes that and ends up slipping out the window away from security. Where the hell is Tony going? As if Teresa needs any other problems going on in her life and her operations. You are most precious because your mother was her best friend. Why are you running out into a city you know nothing about with a gun? Okay, we know you know how to use it. Okay. So during this meeting, once it's discovered that Tony has left, Teresa gets a call and from Pote, I believe it was, or whomever at the house, letting her know that Tony done ran off. So she was like, okay. So the new lady that we're introduced to, her and Teresa come from the same streets of Mexico and came up and made a life for themselves in the dope game. They survived. So she basically says, in order for me to do any business with anyone, their house needs to be in order. I don't need no problems. I don't blame her. Now, Teresa smudges the truth just a little, not really telling her that there is a war brewing between her and one of the locals. But also what Teresa is unaware of, but yet the audience sees, is that Dumas is going to take the judge up on his offer of an eye for an eye. But what didn't make any sense to me is that the target was Teresa. I'm like, how you gonna kill the main operator, the spoke, inside of the wheel? Okay, that don't make any sense, Dumas. That's why I say he's not a very bright man. He just shoot from the hip. It's that street mentality. You got to have more than streetwise to come up with something like that. You got to have a little business savvy. This is the woman who makes the product. Okay, this is the one who distributes it. What is wrong with you, Dumas? So we come to find out that the insider at this event is the bottle girl. And I was like, girl, if they find out that you the one that snitched and told Dumas where Teresa was, you in danger, girl. They gonna kill your ass, okay? I love what she said. The new lady said to Teresa about being a woman in this man's work, in this dope game. And basically what she said was, we have to have twice the brain in order to do things, because men are always quick to want to show guns and power, but women, we have to be smarter. It's almost kind of like how they say, being a black woman, particularly just being black, you have to be twice as smart. So same thing for women in general. We have to work twice as hard to get the same recognition as a man, but we have to be smarter about it as well. One of Dumas's men goes and lays in wait in the ladies' room. Teresa, she radios into her people and says, the deal is good, it's okay. Because the woman never gave her a solidified answer. She just said, we're done with business, let's get it on. So Teresa usually never gets high on her own supply. And so they offered her some cocaine and she gets it, but then she has to excuse herself to the ladies' room. She's like, I got to do something about this. This is not my thing. And I really don't understand why I understand you should be familiar with the product, but some people just don't do drugs, okay? Kind of like how whatchamacallit gave up weed, but he's a Mexican and now it's legal in California. You just have to go up the border. Who is that? Boaz. And I couldn't understand why Dumas would set it up where she would get hit in a public space to begin with. And also another thing, just before we get into the action, Dumas had told somebody that he really didn't want him to go, but he allowed him to get suited and booted. Maybe that wasn't such a good idea when you're fucking with Teresa Mendoza and her crew. So she goes to the restroom. No one's in there, but she sees some feet and gets real suspicious. Because when you're in that lifestyle, you kind of have to watch your front, watch your back, stay alert, stay alive at all times. Keep that head on swivel, right? So she kicks in the doorway in the 4-4. But I don't think Teresa has a gun, but her men do. So King George realizes what's going on. Teresa fucks dude up. George takes care of it. She ends up running. She gets to the alley. There's like all these different dudes out there and they're after her. I'm like, why would y'all kill Teresa? Why? They chase her through this warehouse. I'm all nervous and shit. I had to start drinking a little something because I'm like, oh my God, please don't kill Teresa. Of course, we know they're not going to kill Teresa because Teresa's the main character. And then it would be no more Queen of the South. Like, what are we going to do for the rest of the season, okay? Teresa, during the scene, gets cornered by some dude that she tries to take out with some blunt object. I think it was a screwdriver or something she found in this warehouse. King George to the rescue right on time. One shot, make it heartbeat stop. Yes, he took dude out. So this is man number 3, someone that's close to Dumas, because that's the kid that he didn't want to go, but the kid insisted upon going because he wanted to show off his machismo. Kind of the same thing with Tony now. I'm worried about Tony. Pote finds Tony at a bus stop sucking on the lollipop, hanging on a bus stop sucking on the lollipop. I'm in a good mood right now. I really am. So Just songs and stuff that come to mind. But Pote has a man-to-man conversation with him because he's like, Tony, where are you going? You don't even know the city. He was like, well, I was going to help Teresa. I was in the game long enough to know how to find her. I'm like, oh my God. So Pote gives him a lesson in using a weapon, and he proves that he can. He knows how to lock and load. For those of you who are not familiar with firearms, no matter what, even when you pull the magazine out, when you load a magazine into a weapon, one chambers. A bullet always chambers. So when you're cleaning it or taking it apart or disassembling, please be sure to take that out. We're not talking about revolvers, because you always got it. You can just roll that out. You see if you loaded it with 6 or 8 or however many in there, you know you need to have 8 bullets. You ain't find them. But yeah, magazine plus the chamber, you're good. But needless to say, I am glad that Pote found Tony, because we don't need no more problems. Little boy, you causing problems. Now, what I did find odd and strange and did not see, although Pote is a man, he do like to get his swerve on every now and then, him and Kellyanne have a moment and they end up kissing, so I guess they gonna end up getting it on, but they, we don't know what, okay. But I want to close that part up. King George is now having a moment of clarity. This is the second person that he's killed in this manner since dealing with Teresa, and he tells her that basically he's ready to get out. He longs for the sea. He's not happy. And one of the things I said, the drug war is not really for King George because he has a heart. And when I'm talking about he cares a lot, more so than he should. And he also has one that longs to get back out on the sea, because he used to run arms up and down the coastlines and stuff on the waterways. And I think after Bobby was killed, it kind of did something to him. He has a little bit of PTSD. It shook him. And so Teresa understands it. She says, we might need to find another route anyways. We need to find someplace else to land. Because, if we're honest about it, New Orleans really is not shaking out as planned. You thought you could quietly open a tequila bar and do what you needed to do. But now you got assholes like Lafayette and Dumas always up in your business. So she gives King George some stacks. That's when King George talks to Birdie for what we soon learn might be the last time. And he basically tells her that at a time when I was down, you saved me from drowning. You threw me a line. Teresa's in a car being driven by Javier, and it's a very uncomfortable scene because I don't know what Javier is thinking. First of all, Javier's phone is going off suspiciously. And Teresa's kind of looking like, don't you need to get that? But she never really says anything. And then she told Javier, he was like, I got Boaz off to the airport, whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, is Boaz really at the airport? Because who is that that's calling you? Then on top of that, he lets her know also that he made it back to Mexico. But then on top of that, he's reaching for something. Teresa's like, oh shit, let me get my gun. Meanwhile, in the alley, Birdie's going to drop off the trash of the night from the restaurant, and there's some trash guys out there. I knew it was a setup. I knew it, but I didn't think what happened was going to happen. Why y'all do that? Lord, I thought maybe they were going to beat her up, possibly sexually assault her, leave her for dead, but not necessarily kill her. One of the dudes stabbed her. As a matter of fact, the guy that plays that character came on my Twitter and laughed at it. I was like, no, not Birdie, no. Oh, they stabbed a girl left in the street, Lord, in the alley like a common whore. Oh. And that's where the episode ends. And what made me even sadder is, last week Birdie gave Teresa her lucky coin on loan. And I'm like, maybe you should have held on to that coin because, girl, now you might be dead to the concrete. Turns out she is, because we see her laying in a morgue in the upcoming episode. And so now it's going to be a war. You've killed one of Teresa's people. My thing with Dumas, as I've said throughout this review, is, Marcel, you are the reason why the people closest to you keep dying. And I hope that before the end of the 6th episode, you are deceased. Okay? I really do. Because your actions cost you. Teresa ain't doing this to you. You're doing it. But anyway, y'all, that's all I've got. Thank you all for joining. This concludes my thoughts on Noche de la Chicas. Ladies' night. And oh, what a night it was. Somebody's died. Teresa barely escaped with her life. But she did get the business. The lady did call her and tell her she got her business. So now she has a distribution chain in Atlanta. If y'all film in Atlanta, y'all do something in Atlanta, please holler at me, Queen of the South, USA. But that's all I've got, again, for this episode. Again, I'm Miss Sophia the Diva. You can catch me every Tuesday night on the Diva Disturbed on BFAM 109.6. This week's guest will be Just Joey, a comedian originally out of Baltimore, but now living here. One of my good friends. Very nice young man. I absolutely adore him, and he is hilarious. So join us. Join the conversation with us on that. If this is your first time here on this channel, please be sure to subscribe. I've been Miss Sophia the Diva, and I want all of my buttercups to just stay fabulous, honey. Stay fabulous.